This is the video on how I was able to be Act 2 of an air show at Oceana. I think the comedian Jeff Foxworthy is probably the source of the joke. What's the last thing a redneck says before he dies? Hey, watch this. In any case, this was my watch this moment. I had briefed in a 2v1 against two F-14s one morning at Oceana. We were the first go of the day. And I was at the hold short when Tower asked me to make way for an F-14 that was taxiing out, not part of our event, but was going to do an air show warm-up. And so I backed away from the hold short, raised my canopy, and proceeded to enjoy the show from the best seat in the house. Well, the F-14 did its thing. It was exhilarating, fun to watch, especially from that perspective. And he cleared the runway, and Tower cleared me for takeoff. And so I took position, and for non-aviators, a low transition is a totally unnecessary maneuver, but it's exciting to watch and exciting to fly it. Blue Angel's solo pilots, 5 or 6, does a low transition as part of the routine. And so I was going to be doing one, and I'm flying the A4 Echo, which has a P8, not a P6 engine, so it's a pretty sporty aircraft. I take my position, do my takeoff checks, switch to departure frequency, and add full power, get rolling, get airborne, hold it down to 10 or 15 feet, take off a handful of power till the landing gear gets up and locked, then put the power back on. And I know enough that I needed to be far enough down the runway so that when I did a hard right turn to the south for Whiskey 72, I didn't go belly up to the tower. So I'm screaming down the runway at 10 or 15 feet, and just before I do my turnout, I pull the nose up about 40 degrees to get a good upward vector, and then roll it into about 70 degrees angle of bank and reef on a turn to the south. And so just proceed on my climb out, and departures that acknowledges my being on their frequency, and they say, Tower says, nice takeoff. I thought, ooh, that's fun. So that was kind of fun. And when I got back and landed, I ran into Bugs Moran in the squadron, who was driving in when I was taking off. He said, Gordo, was that you in the Echo? I said, yeah. I said, oh, I see. And I probably didn't get any other questions because of the fact that the F-14 had just done its thing, and anybody who would care probably thought I was part of the air show warm up as well. So anyhow, another opportunity for low transitions. We were on detachment in Roosevelt Roads, and I was the squadron duty officer, and the runway was visible from my window, and between me and the runway was a windsock on a pole. Well, aircraft taking off would be well above the pole, almost out of sight from the windows, except when Whiskey Bob took off, he did a low transition, and I took a grease pencil and marked a mark where the arrow on the tail of the aircraft had crossed the windsock pole. So I was triangulating low transitions. Well, later that day, Chic Burlingame, Hollywood, came by and was getting ready to take off and saw what I was up to, and he said, oh, so that's Whiskey Bob's mark, huh? I go, yeah. And he says, oh, I can beat it. So he goes out and he takes off, and I marked it on the window. And then after his hop, he comes back and very anxious to see where his mark was, and I had erased it all just to torment him. I don't think I told him for a couple of days, but at any rate, I did eventually, and yes, he did beat Whiskey Bob's mark. So I turned an otherwise dull day as SDO into a less than dull day, only slightly. So thank you for sticking around, and please do make a donation to the Wounded Warriors, if you will. Subscribe and make a comment. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Wyatt. My master is a wimp. He wants me to do his begging for him. Well, I'm pretty good at that. Please, oh please, comment and give a thumbs up. Finally, subscribe at the Stork, please. Thanks.